Every single one of you watching this right now has felt it. That pull inside your chest that says you're meant for more. Not just to exist, not just to survive, but to lead, to stand for something, to move people. But here's the truth most people never face. Leadership isn't about titles, positions, or followers. It's about energy. It's about how you make people feel when you walk into a room. It's about the fire you carry, the standard you live by, and the message your actions preach without ever saying a word. Real leaders don't need to tell you they're leaders. You feel it. You feel their conviction, their presence, their hunger to become something greater than themselves. See, most people want to be followed, but they haven't built anything worth following. They talk about changing lives, but they can't even control their own habits. They want loyalty, but they've never shown consistency. You can't fake leadership. You can't manipulate. You either live it or you don't. Because people don't follow what you say. They follow what you stand for. And when you stand for something real, something powerful, something grounded in truth, people see it. They may not understand it. They may not agree with it, but they'll feel it. That's how leaders are born. Not in comfort, not in applause, but in moments when no one believes. And you decide to move anyway. You want people to follow you? Then stop chasing attention and start chasing impact. Stop trying to impress and start trying to inspire. The world doesn't need another loud voice. It needs someone whose silence carries weight. Someone who leads with vision, not ego. Someone who doesn't crumble when things get hard. Who doesn't run when pressure hits. Because when the world sees that kind of strength, that kind of unshakable discipline, it wakes something up inside them. They start to think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. And that moment right there is leadership. When your example becomes someone else's permission to rise. So this isn't just another motivational talk. This is a call out, a challenge, a mirror held up to your potential. You say you want to lead, then prove it. Not by what you post, not by what you promise, but by what you promise, but by what you live. Every single day you wake up, you're either inspiring people to level up or you're giving them permission to stay the same. Every move you make tells a story. So the question is, what story are you writing? Are you the kind of person people follow because they have to or because they want to? Because make no mistake, the world is watching. Your circle's watching. Your family, your friends, your peers. They're all waiting to see if you'll be the one who breaks the pattern, who raises the standard, who leads from the front. So if you really want to become a leader everyone follows, then this right here, right now, is where it begins. 1. Leadership starts long before anyone follows you. It begins in silence. When no one's watching, no one's clapping, and no one believes in you yet. It begins in those private moments where you have to decide whether to hit snooze or get up and grind, whether to give in to weakness or stand on your discipline. You can't lead a single person if you haven't first mastered the war within yourself. Because leadership isn't about commanding people. It's about becoming someone worth following. And that kind of power doesn't come from titles, fame, or authority. It comes from self-mastery. See, most people want to influence others, but they can't even influence themselves. They want people to trust them, but they don't even keep promises to their own goals. They want to be respected, but they live lives built on excuses. That's where most fail. They want to lead before they've earned it. You cannot fake strength. People can feel it. Energy never lies. If you're not disciplined, if your emotions control you, if your habits are weak, people won't follow you. They'll watch you fall. You'll know you're mastering yourself when you no longer need validation, when silence feels like strength instead of loneliness, when your word to yourself becomes unbreakable. You'll know you're leading yourself when your discipline speaks louder than your emotions. You'll know you're ready to lead others when you can look at your reflection and know that you've earned your own respect first. Because people don't follow perfection, they follow power. Not the power that comes from authority, but the power that comes from control over self. Understand this, every great leader once had to fight the same demons: fear, laziness, doubt. The difference is they didn't let those demons win. They turned them into fuel. They used their flaws as reminders of what still needed sharpening. They weren't born with strength. They built it brick by brick for daily self-discipline. That's what separates a leader from the crowd. Not talent, not opportunity, self-control. When you master yourself, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop chasing respect and start attracting it. You stop speaking about what you do and start embodying it. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Leadership isn't about others, it's about you. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. The more you control your reactions, the more you shape outcomes. The more you conquer your weaknesses, the more your presence commands attention. Every great empire, every great movement, every revolution began with one individual who decided, I will lead myself first. Because once you learn to rule your mind, no one can take your crown. So if you truly want to become a leader everyone follows, don't start by trying to inspire others. Start by building the version of you that you will follow. The version that doesn't fold under pressure, that doesn't chase attention, that doesn't compromise its values for comfort. Master your habits, master your emotions, master your focus. Because the moment you conquer yourself, the world will naturally fall in line behind you. 2, influence is something you earn, not something you're given. People might listen to you because of your position, your title, or your status, but they only truly follow you because of your consistency. The truth is, no one follows someone they don't trust. And trust isn't built overnight. It's built brick by brick through the choices you make every single day. You can't fake consistency. You can't pretend discipline. People can see it. They can feel it in the way you show up, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you react when things fall apart. Leadership isn't about being above people. It's about being steady when everyone else is unstable. Every person wants to lead, but very few want to become the kind of person that leadership demands. Everybody wants respect, but not everyone is willing to be consistent enough to deserve it. The truth is, the world doesn't care what you say. It watches what you do. You can post motivation, talk about grind, or call yourself a leader, but if your actions don't match your words, people will tune you out. Leadership without consistency is manipulation. Real leadership is when your life itself becomes the message. When people look at you and think, if he's still standing, so can I. Consistency is a language that everyone understands. It tells people they can rely on you, that you don't disappear when things get tough, that your word is weight. When you say something, you mean it. And when you commit, you follow through. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. A consistent person doesn't need to prove themselves. They become proof themselves. You don't have to convince people to follow you when your lifestyle is the evidence. When you wake up early every day, when you work when you're tired, when you keep going after failing, people notice. They might not say it, but they feel it. And slowly, they start trusting you, respecting you, following you, not because you ask them to, but because your consistency commands it. You see, a title gives you authority, but consistency gives you influence. Authority makes people obey, influence makes people believe. And belief is far more powerful than obedience. People who follow you out of fear will stop the moment you're gone. But those who follow you because they believe in you, because they've seen your character, your grind, your heart, they'll walk through fire with you. That's the power of consistency. It builds loyalty that can't be bought or forced. Consistency is the quiet discipline of doing what's right, even when it's not noticed. It's waking up and showing up every single day, even when nobody claps, even when nobody acknowledges you. It's easy to be motivated when things are going your way, but consistency shows up when motivation dies. That's why the greats are respected. They didn't just perform when it was convenient. They performed when it was painful. People follow them because they know they can be counted on. In a world full of quitters, a consistent person becomes a leader by default. Think about it. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your influence. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you're training the world not to take you seriously. But every time you follow through, every time you finish what you started, every time you hold yourself to a higher standard, you're training people to trust you. That's how leaders are made, not in the spotlight, but in the small moments when no one's looking. Leadership is a reputation you build through repetition. Consistency also demands humility, because when you're consistent, you learn patience. You understand that progress takes time, that credibility isn't instant. A leader who's consistent learns to play the long game, to plant seeds knowing the harvest will come later, and that patience builds wisdom. The inconsistent person chases attention. The consistent person builds legacy. One fades, the other lasts. That's the difference between being liked and being followed. But consistency isn't glamorous. It's repetitive. It's lonely. It's the same grind, the same sacrifices, the same discipline day after day. Most people can't handle that level of monotony. They crave excitement, quick results, constant recognition. But leadership doesn't come to those who chase comfort. It comes to those who embrace boredom and turn it into mastery. Every great leader has walked through seasons of silence, where they were building quietly, unseen, uncelebrated. And yet when the moment came, their consistency made them undeniable. The truth is, consistency also builds credibility. People will forgive your mistakes, but they won't forgive your inconsistency. They won't follow someone who changes direction every week, who's unpredictable, who says one thing and does another. But they will follow someone who stands firm, who's grounded, who keeps the same energy regardless of circumstances. Consistency creates safety, and people follow what feels safe. When people know what to expect from you, they trust you. When your actions match your values, they believe in you. When you show up the same way every time, with integrity, focus, and heart, they will follow you into any battle. And understand this, consistency is not perfection. You don't have to be flawless to be followed. You have to be real. When you're consistent, even in your flaws, people respect that. They respect honesty. They respect effort. They respect growth because they see that you're not pretending, you're progressing. A real leader doesn't try to impress people by being perfect. They inspire people by being authentic. They let their consistency tell the story of who they are becoming. Most people think leadership is about charisma, but charisma fades. Consistency never does. Charisma might attract people, but consistency keeps them. You can charm people into listening to you once, but you can't charm them into trusting you for a lifetime. That takes evidence. It takes years of showing up, of doing the work, of keeping your word. Leadership is about evidence. Evidence of effort, evidence of resilience, evidence of integrity. Every day you show up when you could have quit, you're adding another piece of evidence that says, I am who I say I am, who I say I am. If you want to become the kind of leader everyone follows, stop chasing popularity and start building reliability. Be the one people can depend on. Be the one who doesn't flinch when it gets hard. Be the one who does the right thing, even when it's not profitable or praised. Because when people see you live that way, something changes inside them. They feel safer, stronger, and more grounded in your presence. That's the kind of influence consistency creates. In the end, leadership is less about what you achieve and more about what you sustain. The real question isn't how fast you can rise. It's how long you can stay steady when the world starts shaking. The great ones keep showing up long after the hype dies down. They keep leading when it's hard. Keep serving when it's thankless, keep grinding when it's quiet. And that's why people follow them, because in a world full of noise, their consistency is the one voice that never changes. So remember this, titles can be taken, positions can be lost, but consistency is untouchable. When your character, your effort, and your values stay the same no matter where life puts you, you've already won. Because people will always follow. Consistency is rare, it's real, and it's powerful. That's how you become a leader everyone follows. Not by talking louder, but by showing up longer. 3, building trust, not fear, is the foundation of real leadership. You can make people move through pressure, threats, or authority, but you'll never make them believe in you that way. Fear can control behavior for a moment, but trust builds loyalty for a lifetime. The difference between temporary obedience and genuine influence is whether people feel safe around you or scared of you. And make no mistake, leadership built on fear always collapses because it's rooted in insecurity, not strength. People might listen to you when they're afraid of the consequences, but they'll only follow you when they trust your character. Trust is earned through behavior that stays solid, no matter the circumstances. It's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about being consistent, transparent, and fair. When people see that you act with integrity, even when no one's watching, they begin to believe in you. Leadership without trust is noise. It might get attention, but it doesn't create movement. Real leaders understand that their words mean nothing if their actions don't align with them. Every choice, every decision, every sacrifice sends a message. Can you depend on me when it matters? Fear creates distance, but trust creates connection. And leadership is about connection, making people feel seen, valued, and protected. When people trust you, they'll go further for you than they ever would for themselves. They'll give their best because they believe you'll do right by them. That belief doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from authenticity. It comes from showing that you care, that you listen, that you don't just use people to climb higher. A real leader doesn't step on people. He lifts them because he knows that the stronger they become, the stronger the mission becomes. When a leader builds through fear, he might get short-term results, but he kills long-term growth. Fear makes people hide their mistakes, avoid taking risks, and operate in silence. They start performing for survival, not excellence. They stop thinking creatively and start thinking defensively.